Hello, I'm Hattie Hasan from Stopcocks Group Limited and the founder of the WIT conference. And it brings me great pleasure today to introduce to you Shaun Burrows, Technical Manager of Pegler. Well, you might all know Pegler. There's a bit of a story behind their brand name. Welcome, Shaun, and just tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, thank you, Hattie. Thanks for having me this morning as well. Historically, Pegler and Yorkshire Fittings, but very brief update of our history. Around about 2007, 2008, we were purchased by the Alberts Group, a Dutch manufacturing group, and throughout time, we've merged to become Pegler Yorkshire, then Pegler Valves, and we're now facing the market as a Alberts IPS UK company, but selling the Pegler and Yorkshire brands to that market. So we're retaining our strong brand identity, but changing, as we all have to do, to modernise, I suppose, and keep with the times.
Absolutely, and that's what we're actually here to talk about, isn't it? The modern times and the fact that
Correct.
there are so few women in our industry and we still want to get more. So we started running this event and we're really pleased to have Albert's Pegler. I'd like to call you Pegler because I remember you from
Yep.
back in the day. So can you tell me why have you decided as a company to sponsor our event?
So, to be honest, this was a little bit of a debate. Last year we had these discussions. These started with our then marketing manager. She sort of was looking at ways that we integrate more female activities. We're in a very male-dominated industry. Doesn't care which way we want to look at it, it is the case. We all know it. Otherwise, groups such as Stopcocks wouldn't exist and things like that to bring people together. So when we were discussing that, and I'll admit, I did have quite a bit of bee in my bonnet, having seen a press article that used a um, very low cut top on a female model to sell a tool. It was 2022. We shouldn't be seeing things like that in the industry. I'm sorry, it's not promoting the right image for the brand itself. And the first critique I had after I got over the shock was she's not even using the tool for the right application in the damn image. So yeah, I mean, come on, what are we actually trying to sell in this?
Yeah.
So yeah, we sort of got fired up around that, and like I say, our head of marketing at the time, she was very passionate about trying to get more women involved. We do a number of different things as a business to support Apprentice of the Year and things like that with the HIP competitions. Why shouldn't we look at then supporting it as much as we can in all sectors, and especially one that is very neglected?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we were laughing about the scantily clad women and everything, but there is a serious there is a serious message that and hidden secret message that things like that,
Yes.
images like that, put out not only to men but to women as well. And so, yeah, I'm all for getting rid of that and just let's just promote the tool for what the tool is for, not
Correct. Yeah.
hang it off somebody who's got a bikini on. And
Yep.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, so I really applaud the fact that this has been a discussion for quite some time, and I'm really glad that you've decided to come our way
Yep.
to because there are some women in our industry. A dog might jump on the back of the chair, actually, by the way.
It's fine. I've got one
This
in
is
the
a live
background.
show.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a dog and two cats, so I'm bound to be evaded by someone at some point.
Yeah, I was just saying that. Well, I forgot what I was saying now. The dog distracted me. But yeah, our event. We bring together women from all over the country and sometimes from Europe, and people have come from all over the place. And we're still meeting engineers who have never met another woman,
Yes,
and it's
it's
terrible.
embarrassing.
It's terrible for the industry. The industry doesn't need anything to make its reputation worse than it already is, does it really?
Correct.
We actually
Correct.
need to build up the reputation of our industry because I don't like to call it a skills gap. I like to call it a skills chasm because we're actually falling
Yes.
into it and we've got to do
Yep.
something about it. So, I mean, you're a first timer for our event. What do you
Yep.
think? What
Certainly.
do you, what are you expecting?
To be honest, I'm expecting nothing more than to actually network and talk with people that want to be in the industry because they want to be in the industry. If you look at the male route into the industry, it's I'm doing it because my dad did or because my uncle did.
Mm, mm,
There's very little challenge there. It,
mm,
it's it's a nest. Well, I come from a small mining village, and I openly admit that if the mines were still open, I wouldn't have been a plumber myself.
mm.
I'd have been working in the mine in some role or another
Yeah.
because that was my family background, and
Mm,
it's that social sort of parenting background that needs to change to help drive this forward as well. And I know in a number of your talks you've looked at where we think we can change things in different pieces, but there is an expectation that starts with the parents and moves through school to drive people into the areas of interest rather than just because.
mm.
And
Yeah.
I really do think that's important. It's something I try and drive home with my own daughter.
Oh, well, I mean, we'd welcome her into the industry, obviously. But I mean,
She loves science and engineering, so yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I was, even though plumbing wasn't my first career, I was a teacher before that. But prior
Yeah,
to that, and always until now, I still love to take things apart and put them back together again.
yeah,
And that was something that I learned from very young. Now, I
hmm
my father was an electrician, and I definitely decided I didn't want to be an electrician when it came to choosing what I was going to do
yeah,
after leaving teaching. But um, but I think that I've spoken to quite a few guys actually, and a lot of them have said, "Well, I fell into it because my uncle had a job going,
yeah,
or my dad, or this or that."
yeah.
And I think for women, we actively have to choose it. There are a
Correct.
few women now who are doing it because their dad did it, or they're going into their family firm, but the vast majority of women coming into it are doing it because they've chosen to do it. And we should,
Yes,
do you not feel that we should celebrate people who are choosing our industry,
most definitely.
whatever they
Yeah,
are, whether they're
they're the
men or women?
people that will be striving for excellence more than anyone else.
Yeah,
They're in there for a reason. They're in there because they desire to do things different. I mean, the World Plumbing Council has plumbers down as one of the first emergency services, effectively, because of the sanitation and potable water services that are delivered or taken away from properties. If you're actually wanting to be part of that world, why not?
yeah.
Why not encourage that? Why not support it? Why not try and invest in it?
Mm. Yeah, so, and that's exactly what we're doing. That's what you're doing by coming to this event.
Correct.
And it is it's a fascinating thing because we 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 so depend on water, but it's so taken for granted. And we really,
Correct. Yes.
water
Yeah.
is life, isn't it? It's
It
what,
is, and it's quite amusing. You should bring that up because I've been doing a bit of training with some of our colleagues, and all right, we've got a sales team that are from diverse backgrounds, and the shock on their face when they see that Kent per person has less water than the Sahara Desert does.
wow,
It's
wow,
actually a staggering, phenomenal concept to try and get your head around.
wow,
The area of Kent is actually installing new pipework with support of other councils to bring water from North Lincolnshire because it is water impoverished as an
wow.
area. And that's in our own borders, on our
Yeah.
own island.
And when you think of how much it rains, I mean, I live in Yorkshire, so I live in the
Yep,
Pennines, so we're right at the beginning of the water cycle. So
yep,
we get it all the time. And obviously,
correct. And
I live just down the road from Hebden Bridge that was flooded, terribly flooded.
yes, yep. Yeah,
Um,
well,
uh,
my partner's from up that neck of the woods as well, and I'm down in a valley in South Yorkshire. I can't hide my Barnsley accent, so I'm not even going to try and pretend I'm from elsewhere. So yeah, I sort of see running from the top where it's flooded up there, right down to us in the valley at the bottom. You get a great example of the water cycle, the water table, and everything.
yeah, 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 and to think that we kind of take I guess it's easy to take water for granted in that respect,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
we shouldn't. We really shouldn't take anything for granted. And I think that the fact that we're getting this skills gap, and the fact that we have such a vast need in our industry for people, means that we people who take stuff like that for granted are not going to be able to, are they? I mean,
Not
if
at
it
all.
wasn't for our industry, we'd still be living in, well, we'd still be just drinking out of rivers and what have you. So, really, it's kind of brought me on to the theme of our wit this year is really to do with celebration, because there's a whole
Mhm.
load of reasons for us to celebrate. Actually, there's a lot of reasons for us us as a company to celebrate, which I'm going to go into in the wit
Yeah.
event itself.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, everybody. But but in terms of the women who have made it so far and are thriving in the industry and are coming into the industry, and the organisations that support that, I think that our WIT conference should be a celebration of that, and I always think that positive feedback is always better than negative feedback, and that's the day promises to be it's fun. It's a fun
Yeah.
day. There are activities during the day. There's
Mhm.
ways in
Mhm.
which sponsors like yourselves can get involved.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that you'll be a somebody who wants to support us year on year, because this is we've weathered COVID and we've come back. This is our second year since COVID. Last year it was a fantastic event, but we felt it was a bit cautious. But this
Yeah.
year we're going full blown out, and it promises to be a really, really brilliant day. So
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy that Pegler are going to be supporting it. Um, uh, Pegler was always my go-to when I was on the tools for taps and
Yeah.
valves and stuff. So you know, when people say, "Oh, you know, I need to buy a radiator valve," it was always go Pegler
Yeah.
for me. And so that's just my own personal thing,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
so are you coming to the day?
Um, I plan on doing, but I've not been officially asked yet.
Oh,
So there's been a number of changes within the business. So we're just getting ourselves sorted. Like I say, our head of marketing, who did really drive this forward. I take no credit from her. This is all her doing. I'm just carrying through her sort of desires for this. Who takes that mantle up completely? Don't know. That's yet to be seen. But certainly, I'll be pushing to be involved with this definitely
well,
moving
I
forward.
do
Like I
hope.
say,
I hope you do come, Shaun, because you know
yeah,
it's not an exclusive event. You know, it's for
yeah,
the delegates. We are 100%, I think, female delegates, 100%. But we have guests that you know, I sometimes point them out and I say, you know, men can be plumbers as well.
yeah. Yeah, I think from my part, I was sort of trying to take a back seat in this until I saw one of your previous talks where you were talking about having male advocates for the industry as well. And it
Completely.
was at that point that I sort of thought, you know what, why can't I be involved in this? I'm doing it at home to show my daughter that this world has to change.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, up until well, I've been with my partner now for around about 16 years, and up until that point, I probably fit in the early bracket. I'm not playing out I'm whiter than white at all.
Mm. Well,
I'm
you
from a
know,
background where,
I think the thing is though, Shaun, is that it doesn't matter where you've come from. If you can see the future, a lot of
yes,
I mean, I do hear. I've got to say, I hear a lot from a lot of fathers of girls, and that's
yeah,
when they start to notice that the world is quite different for their girls than it would be for their sons.
it is, yeah, yeah,
And fine, if that's what it takes to get you to see it, then brilliant, because
yeah. Well,
we need everybody on our
I'd
side.
be remiss for stating it was all my daughter. I've got to give some credit to my partner as well because she is a what heavily involved in human rights activities and a teacher in that sort of area as well,
Mm,
specializing
mm.
in that area. So she really did open my eyes. But if it wasn't for plumbing, I wouldn't have met her either. So
Well, yeah, you see, and also some people, you know, don't want their eyes opened. And I
correct.
applaud anybody who is big enough to say, yeah, well, I thought like that, and now I don't anymore because now
Yeah,
my eyes have been opened and I'm willing
yeah.
to be an advocate. So I really hope that you do come, Shaun. It'd be great to see you there.
No, I'll
I'm not
certainly be
going to
pushing for
keep you
that.
for much longer, but if there's anything more you want to say um, to anybody, but particularly to any woman watching this, um, who's going to be a delegate or not, who may or may not wish to be coming into our industry, is there anything that you would say to her?
So I think the biggest thing, and the message goes as everyone's previously stated in these talks. It's exactly the same. It doesn't matter which one of us state it. But the big one for me is there's an old adage that you're only as good as your last bad job in the industry.
Mm.
I don't think that's accurate. I think you're only as good as the lessons you learn from that job.
Yeah.
If you face a challenge, overcome that challenge, find a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Don't take no as the only answer. There are other options. Find people to support you. And again, it's been mentioned previously about not knowing as many female plumbers like yourself mentioned, Hattie, in a previous talk. Find other contacts that will support you. If you need their opinion, ask it. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, men are only objective because they're scared that they're losing. That's simply it. We are very, very vulnerable in an area that we've dominated. So any inception into that, we are all very scared of losing out. But you're doing it for the right reasons, and that's all that matters.
And don't you think, Shaun, there's enough to go around?
More than enough. I mean,
More than
what is it?
enough.
The latest estimates is about 1 million tradespeople shortage in the coming years.
Yeah.
So if
And
anyone's worried about work, then they should be worried about the quality of their own work.
well, this is coming from you. That's yeah. I'm just
Yeah,
going to keep my mouth
yeah,
shut regarding
yeah.
that
Keep
because
political on that one. Yeah,
yeah, I know I want to keep that out of it, but I think exactly. I think you're right, and I think it was really honest of you and open to say we're vulnerable and we feel like we're losing out. Actually, guys, you're not losing out. There's
no,
plenty for everyone, and if we could all collaborate, this whole
yes,
industry would completely turn around. And you know, I wouldn't go as far as to say happily ever after. I'd like to. That's always my dream, but you
yeah.
never know. You never
Well,
know. But we've
sadly, it
got
took
to
women
step in the
footballers
right
50 plus
direction.
years. Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is a long-term game, as I sort of mentioned. Then, sorry for talking over you. It took women footballers 50 plus years to achieve more than what men have done in that time frame. So stick with it.
Mm,
The
yeah.
reward will come. Stick with it.
Well, thank you, Shaun. Just a quick advert. The event is on the 4th of July in London. If you are a woman, engineer, or in fact, any plumber or tradeswoman, it's free for you to go to. There will be a link at the end of this video. That just remains for me to say, Shaun, thank you so much for agreeing to talk with me about our WIT event. And I hope this is the beginning of a very long and fruitful relationship. Thank you very much.
Certainly. Thank you. Thanks,
Bye bye
Hattie.
now.
Goodbye.